Good morning, brothers and sisters in America and all over the world. Welcome to our morning heart devotion. To start off our day, let us offer a bow to our heavenly parents and true parents. 천주인 천부모님께 경배. 바로. And now for a family pledge, I'd like to invite Reverend Melhan.
가정맹세 1. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조 이상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 중심, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과皇族권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조 이상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 천운을 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 처녀극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 처녀극 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Thank you so much, Reverend Milhan. And now for our opening prayer, I'd like to invite Mrs. Cynthia Nakai, if you could please open us in prayer today.
Dearest Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful new day. Thank you. We are in America. We have the chance to work for God's providence in this very important country. Father, right now, we know Korea, Japan, and America are very important. And we know that the evil forces behind the satanic countries working evilly are so strong. So, Father, yesterday's elections, we pray that can have a good outcome. But we know that no matter what the election results, what's important is our faith, our standard, and our loyalty to the providence. Dear Father, please bless each one of us as we go about our day. And please be with the speaker today, Reverend Yong, as he gives his message. I give all these things in praise and honor to you. In the name of Ryuja Cynthia Nakai, a blessed Central family. Aju.
Aju. Wow, Cynthia, your prayer is very short but very powerful. Thank you, Cynthia. Wow, thank you.
Thank you so much, Cynthia Nakai, for your prayer to open up this morning. And now it's time for our appreciation. So let's go into our breakout and we'll see you back in a few minutes. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I hope you had great sharings in your breakouts. For our first sharing today, I'd like to invite Reverend Kazuo Takami, if you can share your appreciation for this morning.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you. Yeah, I wanna appreciate two persons of Chicago, Margaret Figueroa and also Dita Jesper. These two members organized some wonderful fellowship dinner last night at the Chicago Family Church. And the agenda was no agenda. You don't talk about church providential stuff. And they invite many first-gen elders, actually. And I see some people I never seen a long time. They came just for kind of knowing each other. We sometimes talk, or many times we talk about church stuff, and actually we don't know about them, each other. So it was wonderful dinner, and yeah, table was kind of, how do you say, not sitting with somebody you know, but kind of, how do you say, table was assigned, and yeah, talk about, introduce ourselves, and it was wonderful, wonderful dinner. It's aligned with actually True Mother's direction. There's no kind of providential feeling, but yeah, Mother wants us to reach out to the members. So I really impressed by how they organized and set up kind of really welcoming atmosphere. So I was so grateful for these two elders. Yeah, thank you so much.
Wow, thank you so much, Kazuo Takami-san, our sub-regional leader, for beautiful sharing. Yes, let's, life of faith is to have artistic relationship beyond more than any other things. That is a life of faith. How to have a artistic relationship. Then once we have that kind of artistic relationship, everything can be done very well. Many people do not know that. Thank you so much, Kazuo Takami-san.
Thank you so much, Reverend Takami, for sharing that. I love how you said the agenda was no agenda. So I think we all need to do those kind of events sometimes to get to know our members. So thank you for sharing that. And now for our next sharing, I'd like to invite Mr. and Mrs. King. So Mr. John and Keiko King, if you can share your appreciation for this morning.
Wow.
Hey, king and queen. Wow.
Dr. Yong, we miss you so much.
Me too.
I didn't see you for a long time. I'm so grateful. Yeah, so my gratitude this morning was simply sharing that when I am able to give to my spouse or others without expecting any return, I get peace. I'm not calculating what am I getting. I'm not calculating what I'm giving. I give up the calculation and I'm able to have a peaceful heart. And I'm really grateful to realize that, because I have a tendency to calculate all the time, always what I'm doing, how much I'm doing, how much I'm giving, how much I'm getting. It's too much. So I'm looking forward to changing that completely and having this a good heart about that. Yeah. Because my beautiful wife is teaching me.
Okay, Keiko-san.
Good morning, Dr. Young. I didn't expect we are not in the Diane or anybody's room. The one thing I share was that I'm very grateful for the God's creation, and particularly this morning air. Everything God created. So we breathe in the air, we breathe in God's love. So today I'd like to appreciate air. Oh, I'm breathing in God's love and everything. So that is my the gratitude. Thank you.
Yes, air is God's love. Yes, I really agree with that. Thank you so much, King and Queen. Wow, I did not see your couple's face a long time. Of course, you are joining, but like, to hear your appreciation, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. I do not know when can I see your couple in person. I really want to see your couple in person. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Chicken Couple. And sorry, was it unexpected? But always be ready. Right. So thank you so much for sharing your appreciation. Now, brothers and sisters, it's time for internal guidance. So please let us open our hearts and our minds and welcome Dr. Chong-Shik Yong.
안녕하세요. Good morning, my dear brothers and sisters, clergy and ambassador for peace. 안녕하십니까? Yeah, New York weather is getting, more colder now. I can feel now already entering the winter season. Today, I'd like to talk about let us become the living embodiment of the true family ideal from True Mother's Anthology 2. So let's study.
Let us become the living embodiment of the true family ideal. God is the true parent among parents, the true teacher among teachers, and the true king among kings. God is the eternal true parent, eternal true teacher, and the eternal true leader and king. If we are children of God, we need to become true parents first, just like God. We should also follow the way of the true teacher, just like God. And we need to follow the way of the true leader, just like God. This is the three great subjects thought. The ultimate model is God. Who was the Messiah sent to the people of Israel, as was promised in the Old Testament? The Messiah is the second Adam, who comes as the true parent, true teacher, and true king. However, because Jesus was prevented from establishing the true family and uniting his people, he needs to come again. Because Jesus did not accomplish a national level foundation, the Messiah of the second coming will come as the third Adam. He will teach the way of the true parents, true teacher, and true king to the entire world. This is the messianic concept. Wherever the family, nation, world, and heaven exists, the idea of the three primary positions of parents, teacher, and leader should always be established. What does God want for his children? To become billionaires? To have more power than anyone else? No. All that God wants for his children is for each to grow to become a child of filial piety, a loyal citizen, a saint, and a divine son or daughter. Did you ever consider that, in accordance with God's desire, we should become children of filial piety in the family, loyal citizens of the nation, saints for the world, and divine sons and daughters before heaven and earth? Throughout history, the saints and sages have taught this message. When you are qualified to be a true parent and a true teacher, you also will be qualified as a true leader. Ultimately, with love, you can be qualified to become a true king or queen.
Thank you, Heavenly Honey. What are God's three great subject partners principle? God is the eternal true parents, the eternal true teacher, and the eternal true owner. God's ideal was for Adam and Eve to become true parents, true teachers, and true owners, to resemble his ultimate model. However, due to the fall, a human fall, God sent Jesus as the second Adam to be humanity's true parent, true teacher, and true owner. However, the Messiah must come again because Jesus could not establish a family owners or unite his people. The Messiah of the second coming will come as the third Adam. He will teach the way of the true parent and true teacher and true king or true owner to the entire world. This is the idea of the Messiah. Wherever the family, nation, and world and heaven exist, the idea of the three great subject taught true parents and true teacher and true leader should always be established. The way for human beings to become children of the filial piety, loyal citizen, and saints to be qualified to be true parents, and true teacher, and true masters, and further be qualified to become true kings and queens. My brothers and sisters, to become true parents, you must inherit the heart of God as a parent, as a parent over anyone else, and embrace all people. First, the thing we need to inherit from our heavenly parents and true parents. How can I become true parents? To become true parents, I need to resemble God. Always need to give unconditional giving. Just now, Canada, the king's couple talking about. Whenever you give something, always calculating and remembering, and that is our struggling. But when we know the God's nature, He has thought of the true parents. True parents means unconditionally giving, unconditionally sacrificing, unconditionally investing. Then my object partner should be better than me. How can we inherit that kind of the concept, the idea of the true parents? Wow, this is important. That's why to become true parents, you need to inherit the heart of God. This is the first point. Secondly, how can we become true teacher? God is always guiding us through our conscience. Never stop. He never stopped to teach. As long as our conscience is alive, God always teaches us through conscience. You need to go this way. You don't go that way. Continuously teaching and guiding until I become true man or true woman. Right, my brothers and sisters? That's why, I need to resemble true father, true mother, Heavenly Father, whenever I have time. How can I convey God's message to all mankind? That's why this is the motivation. We do morning devotion. Deliver and convey God's message all the time. This is the mission of the true teacher. Unconditionally teaching, and then the pupil, the student better than teacher. You better than me. And the mission of the true teacher. We need to teach it principle, universal principle. We need to teach it through parents' guidance. That's why I need to inherit through parents. Last part, we have to become true owner, right? True owner means what? You're taking ownership. How to love your people, how to love your nation, how to love about all mankind. And not just when the American president become the owner of this nation. What's the mission of the American president? Need to love American people more than any other one. This ownership. So how can we become patriots in the family? How can become filial sons and daughters? How can I become patriot for the sake of the nation? How can I become saints and sages for the sake of the world? How can I become divine sons and daughters for the sake of the universe? That's why, to become the owner of the America, beyond your nationalities, racism, you need to know that. How can I truly love this nation? Beyond color, beyond religious boundaries. I really admire true parents and guidance. My brothers and sisters, this kind of three great subject thoughts, very important. Father said, this one need to establish it everywhere. This three subject thought, right? This is a messianic thought. This is the thought of the Messiah. This is the idea of the Messiah. This is the main thing, not Kim Il-sung three 주체 ideology. Heavenly thought and idea is centering on these three subject thoughts. Living divine principle, the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Let's study.
The fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil signifies the love of Eve. As a tree multiplies by its fruit, Eve should have borne good children through her godly love. Instead, she bore evil children through her satanic love. Eve was to reach full maturity only after going through a period of growth in which it was possible for her to bear either good fruit or evil fruit through her love. This is why Eve's love is symbolized by the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and why Eve is symbolized by the tree. Eve was to have eaten the fruit of goodness by consummating her God-centered love. Then she would have received the essence of God's divinity and multiplied a good lineage. However, she ate of the fruit of evil by consummating her evil love centered on Satan. Hence, she received the essence of his evil nature and multiplied an evil lineage from which our sinful society descended. Accordingly, Eve's eating the fruit denotes that she consummated a satanic love relationship with the angel, which bound her in blood ties to him.
Let's study.
The reason why God could not immediately forgive fallen Adam and Eve. If there is an enemy to God, it's not the one connected to something material called the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If there is anybody who deprives God's heart of love, which exists only as one, he or she can never in eternity be united with God. Therefore, we can conclude that if there exists an enemy to God, it must be the one who opposes love. From this point of view, you can understand what the Unification Church insists upon. Then what is the human fall? The destruction of the love relationship with God, which exists as only one. Then why didn't God forgive them at the moment when they fell? However, now he intends to forgive his children. Isn't it ironic? That's because God keeps an absolute standard. He cannot set up a law of forgiveness until fallen people reach to a certain level of the absolute standard.
Yes. The fall of man is the enemy from God's viewpoint. The biggest enemy among enemy is the enemy of love. And if a sin is committed, indemnity must be paid. No one can escape from sin unless he takes the path of indemnity to pay the price for sin. If humans do not set the standard for restoration through indemnity, even God cannot interfere. God cannot intervene unless a fallen man sets a condition for indemnity that separates good and evil and stands on the standard of the victory that has been separated from evil. Because of the fall, God cannot interfere with Adam and Eve, who carry both good and evil at the same time. Only God can intervene when you have goodness. Goodness belongs to God. However, if you are mixing together between good and evil, God cannot do anything. Evil not belong to God. That's why when you completely separate from Satan, okay, from evil, then only can God intervene, because the goodness belongs to God. That's why human being is very important. Without separating between good and evil, God cannot do anything. If God can intervene, already God's providence is already over. Already God's kingdom of heaven already has arrived. Why God cannot do anything? This is a human portion of responsibility to separate good and evil. That's why it takes a long time to restore human being. This is our portion of responsibility. No one will run away from this kind of portion of responsibility. Next.
That's why there still remains the term to forgive, that is, to make us alive, as well as the term last days in Christianity. So there must come the time called the last days. When it comes, how are we to eradicate the enemy? We defeat the enemy centered on the ideal of the love of God. Then, when that time comes, the love which has been leading us in the wrong direction is to be taken away. In this context, the love of parents, the love of husbands and wives, and the love of children are to be taken away worldwide, for the time of the last days is at hand. Therefore, the time when families break into pieces has come. Parents fail to recognize their children. Children fail to recognize their parents, and husbands and wives fail to recognize each other.
Yes. Only the Messiah has the authority and ability to forgive the human fall. Bible very clearly mentioned that. This is the power of the Messiah. No, Luke chapter 5, verse 24. Now you will see that the Son of Man has the right to forgive sins here on earth. Oh, Messiah has authority to forgive sin. This is very powerful. That's why everybody needs a Messiah. Everybody comes from fallen blood lineage. They don't have any authority, any right to forgive sins here on earth. Only the Messiah. That's why the Messiah should be the Messiah, not just only for Christianity, not for the Islam, not just only Buddhism, for everybody without exception. That's why Jesus said, I am the only the way, the truth, and life, and love. Without me, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. Because of this kind of word, difficult to unite with the other religion. But that is really true. Messiah is not just only for the sake of the Christianity. You need to understand, what does Messiah means? Messiah has the right to forgive sins. Therefore, fallen men await the time of the last days when the Messiah would return. Only through the Messiah can the lineage of Satan be eradicated. True forgiveness is what? True forgiveness is a blessing. Blessing ceremony is not just only marriage ceremony. Blessing ceremony is a really forgiving ceremony. Not just only individual sin, not just only about the ancestor sin. The blessing is really forgiving your original sin. Wow. This is the Messiah's authority. My brothers and sisters, if I forgive you, does the other person really become forgiven through me? If I do not forgive others, I suffer more, so much. I need to pay indemnity, definitely. This is an important point, my brothers and sisters. I cannot forgive my spouse, my husband, my wife, my children, my neighbor, my Abel, my Cain. If you have that kind of nature, you cannot forgive. That means you have a fallen nature. You don't have true love. So then what to do? As long as you don't have a heart to forgive, definitely you need to pay indemnity until you recover your fallen nature. This is a really important point. Therefore, only when I think of the other person's sin as my own, can I be freed. That's how to forgive someone's, but my enemy. His problem is my problem. His sin is my sin. My sin is worse than his sin. We need to treat it that way. First of all, I have to forgive myself. You must forgive me for having a fallen nature that cannot forgive others. To do that, you must repent. Secondly, I have to forgive the other person. To do that, I have to think of other person's sin as my own. My sin is worse than that guy. Then you must be forgiven forever by the Messiah. You need to lay that kind of foundation, and finally you need the Messiah. Then you must be forgiven forever by the Messiah. As long as I have the enemy's feeling toward the other person, it is proof that I have not yet been saved. There is no concept of an enemy in the attribute of true love. That's why I have an enemy. I don't like that guy. He's really, really my enemy. Means you are fallen man. You are fallen man. Your love is very much limited. Your level of love is, your quality of love, very low level. But when you reach the level of true love, you can forgive any enemies. That's why what's the best way? Need to upgrade my quality of love. This is the point. As one sows, so shall he reap in the last day. Father just now talking about, right? As one sows, so shall he reap in the last day. What's the last day? Culture of the free sex. Free sex with anyone, even in one's own family. Oh, this is serious. Free sex with many women and or men. Free sex between man and man. Free sex between woman and woman. Free sex with the animals. Free sex with the spirits. Free sex with the angels. Free sex with the imaginations. How to liberate from this free sex? This is really not simple matter. Free sex culture has spread everywhere and to every corner. Free sex culture goes until the edge of the cliff in the last days. World War III is the fight against the free sex culture. Then, how to win over free sex culture? This is only through absolute sex culture. I need to upgrade my love to higher quality of true love. You must become completely addicted to the true love that is called love of God. You need to know the taste of true love to get out drug addiction, alcoholism, sex addiction, game addiction, money addiction, and tobacco addiction. There is no other way to solve it. Above all, we must love God. The first is to love God, and the second is to love people as God. This is the way out of the lowly love from the realm of the archangelic culture and all its addictions. This is very important. Everybody talking about the free sex issue. Everybody talking about the pornography issue. This one, everything under the archangel culture. Who liberate from the archangel culture? How can I liberate from the archangelic culture? No other way. Conclusion is very simple. I need to upgrade my quality of love. Upgrade. When I upgrade my quality of love and then reach a certain standard, the low class level of love is nothing. Then how can I upgrade my quality of love? No other way. I need to love God more than anything else. Need to think centering on God's concept and God's idea, God's vision and God's heart. What does God think about in this kind of situation? And then this is the first job. Second job is I need to love people. I love God. Like I love God. Treat people as God. Through serving and loving, no other way. I need to serve and attending and loving the people like God. Without this kind of the practice and training, there is no way to upgrade my level of love. Right? What is the free sex culture? Culture of the fornication. The culture of the horizontal relationship. The culture of the first love. The culture of the fallen nature. The culture of self-centeredness. That was the absolute sex culture. Number one, the culture of purity. Absolute purity. Before marriage, need to keep the purity. Once committed chapter 2 sin, many young people came to me and confessed to me how much they're struggling, try to avoid, and they become more serious. Culture of the purity. The culture of the one man and one woman system. Not one man and with many women, not one woman and with many boys. The culture of one man and one woman system. The culture of the filial piety. The culture of the blessing. The culture of true love and heart. Finally, was the absolute sex culture. My love always comes from object partner. My sexual organ belong to my spouse. So then, my love comes from opposite sex. No other way. I need to live for the sake of others. That's why was the absolute sex culture. The culture of living for the sake of others. Today's youth ministry, the righteousness for people in the 천일국 era to be considered a right. Let's study.
The righteousness for people in the Chanukuk era to be considered right. You need to know that when the righteous line you have consistently maintained breaks in your life of faith, everything is in vain. In the Old Testament age, we were justified by the law. We were justified through being punctual and observing rituals, laws, tithes, and the Sabbath. However, in the New Testament age, it was emphasized that we must be justified by faith. To be justified by faith is to believe that the relationship between God and human beings is that of parent and children, and to establish a good relationship of heart between God and human beings. Then, in today's Chanukuk era, what will people be justified by? It will be by building a holistic relationship with true parents, become true children, realize a true family, and glorify God's name. But in order to do that, you have to be considered right in your relationships, and you have to expand a life in which you are considered right without causing the people around you to worry within the sphere of your environment.
Yes, in a way, a life of faith is a life in which we are considered right by maintaining the standard we have determined once without becoming fickle in anything. However, if the righteous standards you kept up until now are broken, if it is broken, you will lose your heart's center, and your life of faith will all be in vain. Examples include the person who attended morning devotion daily. However, all of a sudden you quit on the way for some reason. The person who kept a gratitude the journal, we were talking about your diary. And while living a daily life of gratitude, gave up on the way due to some event. And the person who kept the tithing every Sunday, but was attacked by someone and stopped going to Sunday service. Do you have any righteous standards that you have maintained until now? No matter what anyone say, you need to know that when the righteous line you have consistently maintained breaks in your life of faith, everything is in vain. Regardless of the circumstances, I continue to get up early in the morning, offer prayer and cheongsong and prepare morning devotion. And no matter what I happen, I run the morning devotion, you attending morning devotion. This kind of a certain standard. I also try to exercise for 1 hour every day in any situation. And to add one more thing, I try to give at least one person every day, giving something. Already tried every day. You need to have a certain righteous standard and condition, keeping it continuously. In the Old Testament age, we were justified through the being punctual and observing rituals, laws, and tithes, and the Sabbath. However, in the New Testament age, we were justified by faith in God and Jesus and living a life of overcoming any environment. Then in today's 천일국 era, we will be people be justified by. Once you have accepted true parents as the Savior and Messiah, you will not betray them like Jesus' disciples did, even on the brink of death. Then you are a righteous person in heaven's eyes. My brothers and sisters, do not betray true parents. Once you betray true parents, this is the last day. No more second coming is coming. No more true parents are coming. What kind of judgment will come? Do not betray true father. Do not betray true mother, no matter what. This is our really, last task. No matter what, keep absolute righteousness with true parents. No matter what, do not betray true father, especially do not betray true mother. Keep strong relationship with the true mother. In the era of the 천일국, we can be considered right when our filial piety, devotion to true parents do not change even at the moment of death. The most unrighteous thing is to betray true parents' heart. Doubting true parents' identity and leadership is the greatest distrust. Such a person cannot be considered right. Next.
A role you have had once should be considered right. The people around me exist because of me. So what will happen in my future if I cause them worry? What would happen if a student went to school and became a concern for the school teacher? The people around you are all there because of you, but what if you can't make them happy? In the end, I shouldn't cause worry to the people who are trying to make me more proud and make my wishes come true in my life. If you are a student, you must do your best in school to move the teacher. No matter where you go, you must be considered right and praised. When you go to church, church people should be able to recognize and praise you, saying, "Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful." Whether it's going to church to clean up or help with any work, you should leave behind results of joy in the roles you've occupied.
Yes, in order to consider all right, I must firstly recognize, praise, and consider the all right by those around me. Don't be the kind of the person who causes others to worry about you. My responsibility is to bring joy to those around me and to be acknowledged as right. I should think that everyone around me exists for my growth and completion, right? My father helped me, my mother helped me, my friend helped me, my neighbor helped me. Everybody, those around me, they helping for my growth and completion. But what if you can't make the people around you happy? Then you have the responsibility in your position to bring joy to others and to move them. No matter where you go, you must be considered right and praised. In each position you have had, you must have behind a track record of joy and love that everyone will never forget. Next.
Reverend Johann Lee's testimony while studying in Japan, 1. Today, I would like to introduce Reverend Johann Lee's testimony from his time studying abroad in Japan. Reverend Lee studied abroad in Japan when Japan ruled Korea. Reverend Lee said that at the time, he was expelled from the Japanese Theological Seminary for refusing shrine worship and stayed in the YMCA dormitory in Japan. He said that the bathroom in the dormitory's 5th floor where he lived was a flush toilet, but it was so dirty that he couldn't really set foot in it. However, he woke up at 4 a.m. every day and cleaned the bathroom for about an hour and a half. He said he did it for a year in hiding. However, he said that in doing such a thing, a joy that could not be felt by others sprung from his heart. And he later started work at a company where he went in to work earlier than anyone else and finished last, doing the company's work like it was his own. He said that he always had a happy heart and felt heaven's protection because he continued to work with an owner's mindset and a righteous heart that he maintained. Reverend Johann Lee said that he did not get tired in his life of faith until now and was able to overcome even a crisis because he had a voluntary mind in any situation. Reverend Johann Lee was expelled from the seminary for opposing shrine worship. So he was constantly heavily monitored by the police. He said the police frequently visited to monitor him. However, there was a benefactor who protected him. The YMCA General Secretary always defended Reverend Johann Lee and told the police that he did a lot of good things. One day, when he snuck out of the company and went to Sunday service, an amazing thing happened. He said that 2 police officers came to arrest him, but the moment they saw him at the entrance, they became dumb. The police triumphantly rushed in through the front door to arrest him. But as soon as they saw him, they could not say anything and just stood there dumbfounded. They suddenly became mute. This was heard later, but when the police tried to arrest Reverend Johann Lee, they tried to speak, but no words came out, and a woman next to them saw this. However, she said that after Reverend Johann Lee left, the policemen could open their mouth. After that, Reverend Lee said he witnessed the son of the woman who witnessed the scene next to the police, and that the son at that time was a high school student. The son's father was a businessman and a deacon of the Presbyterian church that Reverend Johann Lee attended. Reverend Lee said he witnessed the elder's son with good faith guidance. After Korea was liberated from Japan, Reverend Lee returned to Korea, and the son went to the United States to study theology and became a doctor of theology. After Reverend Lee joined the Unification Church, he met this man in Japan in 1967 and had a biblical conversation with him over dinner for over 3 hours about the fact that Jesus going to the cross was not God's will. But the person's heart was twisted. Reverend Johann Lee asked to sleep together, but the man stopped talking because he changed his mind. So Reverend Johann Lee told him the following: I am saying this because I have a responsibility to share the principle with you because you believed in God through me and accepted Jesus as your Savior. To say that you continued your faith until this day means you have tasted faith, and moreover, you have become a doctor of theology. So listen to me. If you're obsessed with theories of theology and do not listen, all the efforts that heaven has sincerely made to lead you to this day will be in vain. If you don't listen to me, you're not going to do well. But soon after, the man died in a car accident. So when Reverend Johann Lee saw that the man quickly went to the spirit world, he realized that God loved that man. Reverend Lee said that if the man lived and continued to oppose the Unification Church, the man's work would suffer. Reverend Lee said that by dying early, his achievements of faith up to then remained. Then Reverend Lee said, if we look at the Bible as well, we should see that John the Baptist passed away early for the same reason.
Yes, thank you. Why I put the Reverend Johannes' testimony here today? Because of righteousness. When you keep the righteous condition, no matter what, God always protect you. So let me summarize. What can we learn from Reverend Johannes' testimony? While Reverend Lee studied in Japan, when he occupied Korea, he was considered right by heaven by keeping his faith without compromising with the world when everyone was forced to worship at a shrine. When he was staying at the YMCA in Japan, he was justified by cleaning dirty toilet early every morning for over a year without anyone knowing. That is a really spiritual world recognize him. When he did the right things that only God remembered, unimaginable joy arose from his heart, and he always experienced God's protection. Wow, amazing. He was able to move forward without ever getting tired in his life of faith because he approached any situation with the spirit of the ownership and voluntary mind. Even though under that kind of terrible situation, he always using his volunteer heart and ownership. Wow, like a true father in Hungnam prison, taking ownership, volunteer hard to serve other prisoners. Because of his unchanging righteous faith, God and the spiritual world always protected him, even when he was at the crossroad of life and death and in crisis. Also, many spiritual work took place around him, and there was always a righteous person who protected him. Wow, God is alive. Even when receiving persecution from Japan, he was always busy spreading the word to people around him. Even under such circumstances, he raised spiritual children, and after joining the Unification Church, he preached the word of the principle with the heart of the taking responsibility. Great, right? That's why we always need to have the righteous condition. Even God sympathizes me. Even spiritual world sympathize me. Does not care. People look at me, people praise me or not. Does not care. You need to be honest to yourself. You need to be sincere to yourself. Always keeping righteous standard. This is the way God always protect you and guide you in any situation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yong, for today's teaching. I think from all of us, really the key are really becoming righteous people, because when we do so, even God can really protect us and our families even. So thank you so much for even showing that example for Reverend Johan Lee. And now for our leaving testimony, we have Pastor Hebangja Kisile, who's the state leader of Indiana, and he's going to be sharing about the Indiana campus witnessing. So please take it away.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Oi, Hebangja!
Morning, Dr. Yong.
Yeah.
All right, I'll share my screen here. It's good to be here, and thank you for the opportunity to share. So I'll be sharing about our campus witnessing effort and community development as well. So I've titled my presentation here, New Life Through Community and Witnessing. And so at the beginning of the year, we reflected a little bit about the direction that we wanted to go in our community in Indiana. And some words that stood out to us was really Mother's guidance in 2012, when she declared that we wanted to make our church community a living and breathing church that feels like a mother's, the warmth of a mother's embrace. So these words stood out to us, and we, as we reflected, we decided kind of our intention was to become a community of togetherness. So we wanted to become a community that prays together and also prays for each other. We wanted to be a community that studies together, shares or witness together, and also a community that celebrates together and celebrates each other. So those were our 4 intentions at the beginning of the year. And so with that, I think Okay, so with that, we started some small group activities to lay the foundation. Of course, our overall intention was to grow as a community, to bring in new life, but we understood that unless we have a strong internal foundation, and it's going to be very challenging. And so with that, we started making efforts to work on our internal environment. So we started small group activities like strengthening a prayer team every morning. Some of our members gather together, centered on Reverend Jack Arford, and pray, read Godibo together and pray for our community. Then we have another prayer nights on Wednesday where our members gather together and pray. We also started a 2nd generation book club where every week our 2nd generation members gather together to read and discuss and deepen our relationship. We started an art and craft club. Next we are working on starting a young couples club. So based on that internal foundation, we launched our witnessing efforts. However, we felt challenged because in many ways we lacked experience and not knowing what to do and how to do it, and also just facing a lot of limiting beliefs. So I think one way we felt we could address it is to find those who have broken through with their witnessing efforts. And so we turned to CARP LA for support and guidance. So we invited them over, and two of their members came, and our community gathered together to learn from them. And at the same time, we went out with them on the college campus to witness and see how they do it. So this was a turning point for our community because it became a really good opportunity to bring the hearts of the first and second generation together. And so since then, we started witnessing on the college campus. So a few things we learned from CARP LA was that we had to start with seeking the heart of God in prayer and studying God's word. And then the next step is to commit to go out no matter what. And so we made that commitment. And since then, we've gone out every week, no matter what. I mean, sometimes it's school break or whatever it is, raining or what, we go out witnessing on the college campus. Then we also learned to have a lot of give and take with a central figure, but also with each other among the community. So our practices from that is that, so we go out in pairs every week. So usually it's the first and second generation member to go together and using the 8 questions and the introduction to the divine principle, or reaching out and connecting with the students. But for me personally, this has been a great experience because these pairs are different every week. And so this has been a good experience for me to get to know the members. Every week I go with a different person and I get to ask them, how are you doing? How are your children? You know, we get to connect as we are witnessing as well. So yeah, as a leader, it's been a really good experience for me. And I'm sure it's also been a good experience for the members to get to know each other, to learn to work with each other and develop their artistic relationship with each other. And then after our witnessing sessions, we share our reflections with each other. So we have created like a group chat where everyone shares their reflection and their experience every day. So that's been exciting. And then every Sunday after service, we get together, debrief and share our experience and set our goal for the week. And so so far we have 15 people constantly witnessing on the college campus, and 12 are regular.
Beautiful.
And so as for October, we had, within the month of October, we had 30 divine principle studies all together. And 12 of our contacts are regular. So they've been studying every week. So we have 12 regular guests so far. So we are doing a 40 days condition, and right now, a 40 days challenge. So our goal by November 17th is that 12 of our guests complete the fall of man. Then on the 18th, we are going to have a Thanksgiving dinner with guests and spiritual parents. So we are looking forward to that. So a few pictures, and I think it's been really a good experience for our members to go out together. This is one of our guests. The spiritual mother surprised him with a birthday present, and he was so moved by that. And so this is, kind of us reporting to each other every day. What happened, what section of divine principle we read. So it's been exciting, and I can see that our members are finding new life. It's like there is something to look forward to, and it's very, very exciting. And here you see mother, daughter taking care of spiritual son together, first and second generation taking care of guests together. So it's very, very exciting. So I wanted to share a little bit of my personal reflection and on this. I think for me, what I learn here and what I see is that God works where there is a longing heart, a strong desire to do God's will. God will work from that. Then when we work together in harmony, we create room for God to work through us.
Yes.
And my third reflection is the most important is to start, then to continue with a firm conviction. So I think it's very challenging to continue, but I think we cannot see results if we give up. And I think Dr. Yong has talked about it several times, but continuing with a strong conviction. And then the biggest witnessing result I see, I think it's good that we have spiritual children, but the biggest witnessing result is really what happened in us, what happened in our hearts as we are witnessing. And so I can see our members overcoming concepts about themselves and their understanding of God. I mean, sometimes it's a very difficult day, but you go out and that's when you have the deepest or the best results ever, or the deepest experience ends with witnessing. And a lot of our members are Japanese speaking in people. And I think at first they thought, maybe I don't speak good Japanese. Maybe I can, I'm older and students won't relate to me. But through engaging on with students, we are finding that those concepts are just kind of limiting beliefs that we have created ourselves. And so we are breaking through. So the best way to unite first and second generation is to invest in finding a common love. So basically, that's kind of what I wanted to share this morning as my a little report from our work here in Indiana. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Wow. Thank you so much, Haebangja. Wow, you are doing very well as a second generation. Your name is a Korean name, Haebangja, means liberator. Really, you are liberating God's heart, really. Wow, your witnessing is doing very well. Wow, very beautiful. Thank you so much, Haebangja. I know that you start a family. I want to hear good news very soon. I do not know. I'm really still expecting. Why no news so far? Haebangja, you need to work harder. Thank you.
We keep praying, Dr. Yong.
Oh, thank you so much, Bangja, my brother from another mother. I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing your reflection and also your testimony. I really think you're the right person for this community. And really just seeing the unity between the first and second generation. I really love that because they have a common ground, and that's witnessing. So it's really beautiful to see that, they're working together as a team. So thank you so much. And now for our next portion, we're going to be going into our reflection. So please let us go into our breakouts, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you had great sharings. Now for our first sharing, I'd like to invite Uncle Prosper Kiluba, if you can share your reflection for today.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Good morning, Dr. Yong. Yeah, the experience I was sharing in breaking room of Dan was what Dr. Yong gave as a message and what Ebanja was giving at the living testimony. Yeah, when we are going out like to witness people, it's not only to have the result. It's like Dr. Yong was saying for fundraising. If you are going not only to have money, as True Father said, but the experience you are getting from your heart, your transformation, your relationship with God and the true parent, and coming to Reverend Johan Lee's testimony or what he went through, especially with that man who study theology and he doesn't like to listen to believe. Just come to my experience facing, witnessing, and I met one young boy. He just finished his get his degree in mathematics in University of Pennsylvania. He doesn't have a good relationship with his parent, and we studying divine principle very good. Himself, he asked me, now can I come to your church? I say yes. He came the first week, he was good. And then we set up the schedule, learning divine principle. And the next week he came to the church, and then he left during the service when Reverend Mihan was speaking. And then he said, it's not God. He left. He didn't like to talk to me. With my wife, we was praying for him, and we called him last Saturday, and then he answered. He said, oh, I miss you. I'm looking hard to meet you. And we scheduled to meet on Wednesday, yesterday. And since morning, he was texting me when, how we will meet. And we set up everything. All day we was communicating. 30 minutes before we meet, he called me. He said, why we should meet? And then I said, you don't know? We are studying divine principle. Yeah, that is the philosophy. But I think you are a good person, but you have to bring people to the church. That's not the church. I don't believe in that. And I said, but can we just share something, share something? My wife prepared food, we have to eat. She said, no, I cannot meet you again. Yeah, I was a little bit disappointed. I said myself, maybe I didn't put more Johnson. I didn't pray for him too much. And I was very tired. I just went to sleep. The cancellation of that meeting. But what I learned from that, like what Dr. Yong is saying, I was very, very selfful with thinking that young boy, I need to help him have a good understanding of the divine principle of God, heart of God. But he's resisting. I don't know, but that's continuing praying for him. Yeah, that's my sharing this morning. Thank you so much.
For your beautiful sharing. I think keep going no matter what. Nobody win over Jeongseong. You need to put Jeongseong continuously. And then based on that the foundation, God send even better one.
Yes.
Let's try continuously. I think God is really want to raise up your heart first, cultivate your heart first to become more high level your heart. Then God will send more better one. Thank you so much, Kiluba. Gambatteo.
Thank you.
Aju, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And yeah, in every single situation, God is always trying to make us grow, no matter how difficult it might be, right? So thank you for sharing your experience. And now, brothers and sisters, for our daily reminders, we'd like to remind you to invite your friends, invite your family, invite anyone you can to our Morning Heart Devotion. There are so many ways you can tune in. You can go to edu.familyfair.org to find transcripts from Dr. Kylie. You can also find the Zoom link if you want to attend on edu.familyfair.org. And we also have our link in the chat to donate. Feel free to donate anything for our Morning Heart Devotion so that we can continue to do this every single day. And if you're watching on Facebook, you have the link there to donate. If you want to offer a song, you want to offer a prayer, you can also email tal@tzor@unification.org. Now for our musical offering, we have Uncle Dan Pfefferman, who will be introducing his song. So please go ahead. I believe he's here, right, Tom?
Unmute.
All right.
Hi, everybody. I want to offer a song.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, dance and performance. Thank you, dance and performance.
Yes, performance. That's my name. So actually, Susan's going to introduce this song. It's a song about Joseph, the father of Jesus. We know he had lots of problems later on, but Father said something nice about him. And so I wrote a song to remember the good thing he did.
Joseph discovered that Mary was pregnant. How great must have been his shock at that moment. Mary, his beloved fiancée, without having had any relationship with him, had become pregnant after a 3-month stay in another place. It was natural for Joseph to question Mary about who the baby in her womb belonged to. Mary's pregnancy began to show, and the people of the surrounding area became aware of it. What would have happened if Joseph had declared that he didn't know anything about it? But Joseph was a righteous man. He believed in the revelation of God and defended Mary, saying the pregnancy was his responsibility. Mary may have been ridiculed for becoming pregnant during her engagement, but she had avoided death by stoning. Joseph, who loved Mary, protected her this way in the beginning. However, there was a great deal of anguish deep in his heart. And this is from the Principle of the Providential History of Salvation, April 16th, 1996.
Okay, so here is Joseph, Don't You Weep.
Mary's child began to grow in the home of Zachariah. When she returned to Nazareth, there was no way she could hide it. Now Joseph was a righteous man. His spirit burned in anger. He did not want to bring her shame, but still he would divorce her. Oh, Joseph, don't you weep. Oh, Joseph, don't you mourn. Oh, Joseph, don't you weep. night he dreamed the strangest dream. God's angel bid him tarry. Son of David, be thou not afraid to take to wife your Mary. The child will not be born of sin, though men may think it shameful. And you shall name him Yeshua, for he shall save his people. Oh, Joseph, don't you weep. Oh, Joseph, don't you mourn. Oh, Joseph, don't you weep. Soon the Messiah will be born. Oh, Joseph, don't you weep. Oh, Joseph, don't you mourn. Oh, Joseph, don't you weep. Soon the Messiah will be born.
Yeah, this is a really beautiful story, really. Not just only singing, really. Very good story. Thank you so much, Dan. You are always make us so inspired. Thank you so much for your beautiful offering song. 감사합니다.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uncle Dan Pfefferman and Mrs. Pfefferman as well. It really reminded us of Jesus's life, just watching it, really the suffering also when he grew up. But anyways, yeah, thank you so much. And brothers and sisters, actually, we forgot one more important announcement. There is a conference of hope for religious freedom and human rights. It's going to take place Saturday in Korea, but Friday our time, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. The registration form is on the chat. I'll put it in the chat. If you're not Japanese, because there's a special two-way for Japanese members, but if you're not Japanese, you can also email Tal at tzorunification.org for a separate registration form. So please just look in the chat for that registration form. And now for our closing prayer, I'd like to invite, Amanda Thiemann. Could you please close us off in prayer?
Hello. Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Parents, true parents, good morning. Thank you so much for this time that we are watching morning devotion, and we're all gathered here to be able to receive God's and true parents' words through Dr. Yong. Thank you so much that everyone is able to be here with their happy spirits, and if they're not so happy, then I hope their days can get better through your love, God, and through the love that they're able to experience through the people that they see today and through your creation. Thank you so much for all the things that we were able to learn through Dr. Yong's talk today. I really hope that we can all experience being addicted to your love, God, if people haven't already, because in my experience of witnessing your love, even though it hasn't really been consistent, it's been the purest form of love for me, God, and it's been the warmest and greatest love, and just really different from any other love that I could have ever felt in my life. And it's definitely a feeling that's worth being addicted to. I hope that we can all be able to lead a consistent, righteous life of faith one where we don't only want to meet you and true parents where we're comfortable and when it's convenient, but also in times that we are challenged and when we are struggling. I hope that we can be able to seek you and true parents even more. Thank you, God. I hope that our experience for today and for the days forward, we can continue to grow our hearts and we can continue to keep the word that we learned today in mind. Thank you so much, God, for everything and for this opportunity to be able to receive your words like this. Thank you so much. I pray in my name, Amen. I'm a second generation member of Blessed Family Aju.
Wow, thank you so much, Maria, for your beautiful prayer. Andrea's daughter. Amen, 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 amenda.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Amanda. Hello, Dr. Young. Every morning, always finding different names for different people. But thank you, everyone, for joining. No, it's not easy waking up every morning, but we really appreciate you for joining every single day. Thank you, Dr. Young. Thank you for all of our sharings today. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow for another incredible morning devotion. Thank you. Bye-bye.
감사합니다. Thank you. Nice day.